March 21st, just before 8 a.m. And the first full day of spring, and it's 34 degrees. Yay! The fog that was here this morning is slowly burning off, and it's supposed to get up to 50 or so, so it'll be an okay day. I am at the American Chestnut Land Trust in St. Leonard, Maryland. And I'm going to try to weave together about 8 miles this morning. It's a fairly compact area, so I'm going to be doing like a little figure 8 among some of the trails and then crossing over and doing the east loop to finish it up. So you can see I've packed a little more realistically today. I've actually got a sleeping bag in my pack this time. So I've got everything I would normally have except for a stove and food. And I've sort of compensated for that by still carrying all my camera stuff. And I mean all my camera stuff. And at low bridge here. So I'm carrying all of that, plus I'm carrying 4 useless pounds of weight, little dumbbells. So pack's pretty heavy, which is what I want. It's a good workout. So the American Chestnut Land Trust is an area that some forward-thinking individuals a few decades ago decided to set aside to protect one of the last few American chestnuts in existence. And I'm out of breath now because I just came straight up the big hill here, or one of them. So hopefully it shows through a couple of these other shots that there's a lot of ups and downs here. Particularly, given the fact that we're on the Chesapeake Bay shore, essentially. It's only a couple of miles back to the east. There's a fair amount of terrain and no real structured ridge lines, so you kind of go in and out of the valleys. So Chestnut Land Trust was put together by some folks who were trying to survive or protect the last surviving chestnut. American chestnuts were being killed off by a blight, as I think everybody knows. And there was a small stand of them here in this area, so unfortunately that last remaining tree has died, but some of the seedlings are being taken care of and nurtured. So they've turned this area into a nice recreational spot, but also kind of a conservation area and an educational spot on tree species and forestry. And so it's one of my favorite spots to come out here and hike because you can get a lot of terrain, a lot of variation in a very small area. So we'll see if I can pull together enough miles in it though. Spring is coming after all. So last week over at Calvert Cliffs, we were talking about the beavers, but how they had changed the landscape. And here at Chestnut Land Trust, it's gotten so bad. The folks who maintain this area have just given up. A few years ago, this boardwalk, well, first of all, it wasn't this far away. It started much further along here, but years ago, you could follow this all the way out to a swamp and a lake that's kind of up in that clearing in front of us. And at the time, even then, the loop trail through the swamp had been obstructed by beavers. Well, now, as you can see through here, they have backed up the swamp so much that the trail is essentially in it. And you can see the old boards being submerged, and they've basically closed it off and said don't even. Little cemetery plot out here in the middle of the woods from the Hance and Cheney families. I'm sorry, Chesley families. The gravestones here date from between 1812 and 1868. And these are the two families that settled this area in 1666. And then subdivided it into farms over the ensuing years. So I've finished the little ramble around the ridge and creek valleys. Managed to get 4 miles out of that little bow tie shaped trip. And so now I'm down on the south side of the land trust. Still walking, haven't gone back to the car or anything, but it's an area where there are 2 loops, and I'm on the Laurel loop, and I'm going to be able to make sort of a figure 8 with this and the east loop, which the east loop by itself is about a 2 mile. Another change in environment. Obviously this area was cleared not too long ago, and now it's a little pine grove, but much different than the tall poplars and the sycamores down by the creek. So the east loop dropped me into another creek valley. We'll see how muddy that one is. This area through here is beautiful in late May, early June, because all these rhododendron and mountain laurel are blooming. And it rains pink petals through here. It's really nice. One of Lynn's favorite trails in the area because of that. I've made it into the east loop now. It just feels wider open, as you can tell. And the trees are big again. So I've come down off of the east loop into this creek valley, and it's 10 o'clock now. I've done 5.5 miles, so I'm a little bit under schedule pressure because I want to be back by 11, or at least off the trail at 11, but I want to hit in some extra miles. So I've gone down the Steve Easter Trail, which sort of dead ends down here towards the bay. Not quite to the bay, unfortunately, but close. And I'm going to do a little out and back here, but I'm going to try to pick up the pace and see if I can't get the mileage in the right amount of time. And this is not a good thing for keeping the pace up. It's a shame they can't do either a little bit more land acquisition or a little bit more trail building. I can't tell which, but Chesapeake Bay is right over that hill. It would be really cool if if we could build a trail up to at least a viewpoint up on that hill. I believe that there are a few houses up there built along the top of some of the cliffs. And of course they don't want anybody in their backyard. So this is where Steve Easter peters out and hits a road. And there's the bay, 500 feet down that way. Close but no cigar. So I'm coming into the home stretch here. Looks like it's going to be about 8.5, maybe a little bit more miles, based on what I've done so far. So, longest one yet of these little practice hikes. And I've also had the heavier pack than I've had before. So, and I can tell, I've got a little bit more rubbing on the hip bones than I've had on the previous couple of trips, and I don't think that's as much extra miles as it is just extra weight. So that's all right. If I've done this right, what I'm carrying now is indicative of a full fuel load at the kind of at the beginning stages. Full fuel and food is what I meant, and so this is probably the heaviest that I would see. And I know that now because I'm actually carrying real stuff. I'm carrying the equipment I would actually have with me. So this is I'm starting to refine pretty well. I'm also getting a good idea of where the tender spot on the feet are going to be, and I'm not bad yet. It's not, but over the past 3 hikes I can see a pattern. So things to watch out for. Good trip. Really enjoying these and enjoying the solitude, actually. I'm enjoying getting out of here and being quiet, which doesn't happen often with the Cub Scouts. But I've been having the opportunity to really pay attention to the birds and listen for the deer and the squirrels. And that part's been very enjoyable. So, and Lynn's been very gracious to let me disappear in the morning and take care of this and have fun. So, and it really has been fun. Yeah.